Welcome, everybody, to another Microsoft Unboxed pod. This is episode 95, I believe. We have five more to the big 100. I'm your host today, Kareem Anderson. I'm joined by.
David Allen. Hope everybody's hanging in. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope it is actually warmed up where you are in this second week of May.
Yeah, depending on where you're at, you could be in Georgia, you could be at the top part of Florida, but we hope that whatever tornado warnings were issued yesterday, you guys have survived them. You are
Yes,
okay and everything's intact. We want to thank everybody for hanging in with us. I know we were off last week, but we are back. Microsoft news has been a little bit slow, but we do have a lot actually to talk about in the world of tech and in the world of Xbox. So if you are a gamer, this should be your pod. Just to give you kind of a brief overview of what we're going to be talking about today, we got news about Adobe wants to be move in on productivity now that Canva and Affinity have teamed up to kind of take over um, creative from a more social media slash corporate marketing aspect. It looks like Adobe's pivoting towards productivity to be your one stop shop to kind of uh, cater some of those other needs as far as, it's one thing to create art and create content, but it's another thing to organize it and get it pushed out. So it looks like it wants to kind of go in that lane. But yeah, Gemini for home, with Gemini 3.1 being rolled out. So your home is getting a little bit smarter. I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing. I've seen some movies that say that's typically a bad thing. We'll talk about that.
it's
We also,
watching you.
exactly. And I don't need my home watching me. We also the bigger conversation we have is what happened over the last 2 weeks. So we're going to kind of combine those two into what I considered the Asha Sharma section of news, which is she hired a bunch of people over from her AI business to come help her fix and organize Xbox. We'll talk about whether that's a good enough strategy. She's also made some other moves. She's been constantly talking about what Xbox needs to do. She's been very public in the last, I don't know, when did she show up? March, end of February? Since the end of February, she's been very vocal and in everybody's face about how to fix Xbox. Now, again, we'll talk about whether or not her plan works or if she's got a good strategy, but she's made some pricing changes, which that's an immediate yes for everybody, bring the price down. Now she's going to talk about I think overhauling the core tenets of where Xbox needs to be, and then kind of expanding the platform. Then we're going to talk about. I had an editorial I wrote, I believe it was last week or the beginning of this week, started this week, about the uninstall spike in AI. There are a lot of everyday users, myself included, that played with AI but are now uninstalling them. Maybe they're uninstalling them from your phone. Maybe you figured out you don't need it everywhere. Maybe your usage has been dwindled down from organizing your macros in your nutritional diet to just asking regular search questions and hoping to get a little bit more context about it. So you're realizing that, the hype of AI may be at its apex. That doesn't mean that AI is going anywhere anytime soon. Businesses are still trying to use it. And it looks like over the last week and a half, we have Microsoft moving into tokenizations. I think they're the first of many companies that are about to start charging for AI, which we'll start to see the divide now. Everyday users, one, who don't have the money to, don't have the resources to, don't want to necessarily be involved with AI, are going to start breaking apart from that. And we're starting to see that over news reports, and we'll get into those. And then the corporate users who are going to have to justify their massive layoffs over AI with this new tool and say, all right, this is why we need to stick with it. And then we're going to end on a happier note with free play days. With that being said, let's get into our weekly rant.
I got one for you folks, and this one, Google Chrome makes the news and stays in the news for something. And there, a while back, they were in the news for resource usage and all kinds of good things. Let me tell you what happened with me with Google Chrome this week. I don't know if there's a ghost in my house or maybe Google is spying on me. They don't like something
Maybe.
I'm doing. They don't like that I'm using Copilot. I don't know. But I may have my days a little off here, but that doesn't matter. It was roughly Wednesday night. Yeah, yesterday was Thursday. It was Wednesday night. I've got a media PC in my house that we use here for recording pods. I use it for streaming. It's not used very much for everyday tasks. It's just media.
And it's definitely not used for torrenting for anybody that's listening.
No, it's not used for torrenting or anything like that. Um, it's just media, just gaming. That's it. I don't have productivity on here except for the absolute necessary items. I came in to work on a video. I opened Chrome, Chrome opened. I typed in where I needed to go and it goes nowhere. I'm sitting, I'm waiting, I'm going nowhere. I open up another tab, type in somewhere else. Maybe that website is down. It's going nowhere. I open up Edge. Edge works. It's not my internet connection. I checked Teams. Teams worked. Checked a few other things. I had basic connectivity. We were good. This was narrowed down to a Chrome problem. So I restart Chrome and I restart my PC thinking this will fix it. Doesn't fix the problem. So I use, because I darn sure can't open Gemini, I use Copilot to type in the issue to give me some ideas. And it comes back with all kinds of suggestions. Open this flag, move this file, clear this file, open this in Windows and in the registry editor, and move this over and move that over. I mean, it's just laid it all out there. And I'm moving files that don't even have logical file names. Well, Chrome uses this for to store this data in Chrome. Now before anybody jumps in, David, why didn't you just clear your cache and do the basic things? I did, folks. I did that. I did the basic troubleshooting. So I had something to do. I was mad. I left Chrome open. Did not touch it. Did not touch Chrome. Came back later that evening. It was still broke. I tried a few more steps. I left it alone. On the screen, I'm on a 44-inch super ultra wide. Chrome was on the right hand side. I go to bed. Don't think anything of it. Don't need that PC the next morning. I came in about midday yesterday, clicked something on Chrome, and it loaded right up. And that's different. So I closed Chrome and I opened Chrome and I'm waiting on it to break because it was broke when I left it. It's not broke anymore, folks. Now, it may break during this podcast and make me look like an idiot. If so, I will accept the title. But point is, what did Google do or what did Chrome do? Because let me be clear one more time. When I left it, it did not work. It would not load a website, was not happening. Everything else on the PC worked fine. So for the folks in the comments, no, it was not a network connectivity issue. No, it was not a DNS issue. Edge and Firefox worked fine. This was a Google Chrome issue. I leave it sitting overnight and come back the next day, and Chrome has worked fine ever since. Now, anybody that's done any level of software development knows software generally does not fix itself. Generally. Anybody got any suggestions as to what Chrome did or what Google did to make my browser start working again?
I think one of our later stories might have a solution to that. So we're gonna have a cliffhanger, ladies and gentlemen.
All right,
We're gonna
all right,
circle
all
back
right,
to this.
all right.
We're gonna start with our first topic, and that is Adobe. I think this is one that you brought up. So I'm gonna let you run with this after you have a sip.
Yep. Let me get a sip of my drink and we will talk about Adobe because Adobe wants to, guess what? Wants a little more money out of you, wants to get a little bit more of you.
What? Adobe wants more money? I don't believe you.
And I think they want to go to a place they just need to stay the heck away from. I'm just going to call it what it is. Adobe unveiled a major productivity leap forward in document intelligence with its new productivity agent, now available in Acrobat Express and Acrobat Studio. Built on decades of document interaction, document knowledge, Adobe says you need this AI powered workflow because it can generate titles, summaries, audio, overviews, all while helping your recipients. This is where it wants to be different. Your recipients of your documents interact with that document, send you back information, generate that information they're going to send you back. You can track what they're doing with it, what they're using to send you that information back. So let's draw this picture. I send my buddy Kareem here a document. Let's do a roadmap for our website. I send him a roadmap for our website. I generate this roadmap using this AI agent that Adobe would like for me to use. I generate the roadmap. I send it to him. He can then in turn use AI to respond to said document, and it shows me, the document creator, how he used AI to respond to said document. Now, he could have used AI to generate, as I said, audio, video, text, spreadsheets, PDFs, etc., to respond to this document. Now, Adobe says this is available today as part of Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Express, and Acrobat Studio. When I first read this, I says, and I still feel this way, I said, what is Adobe doing in my productivity space? Get the heck out. I don't want you here. And I still feel that way because something we're going to talk about in this pod a little bit more later. I think everybody is AI overwhelmed, and we're getting to a point, I'm going to call it, folks, where smarts don't count. If you're smart about something, you better hold on to it because everybody's typing into AI. Well, I can generate this. Well, I can generate that. Well, I can generate this and I can generate that. Have you ever gone into a meeting or talked to somebody and you've got documents and they've got documents and they don't know what the heck they're talking about because they just asked AI a question and went copy paste and voila, that's my document? That's where this is headed. And not everything needs to produce a document for me. Not everything needs to produce a spreadsheet. Not everything needs to produce an audio clip. We're all using basically the same models. We're all basically generating the same thing. So, Adobe, you're expensive. You introduced AI, the unlimited clip art or the unlimited stock portfolio plan the other day. Stay in your lane. Keep overcharging people for creative utilities and keep adding AI to those creative utilities and upping the price that I no longer pay. I'm good with that.
I'm gonna come in with
Stay
the
out
jalapeno
of
right
my
now.
productivity.
I'm gonna come in with the jalapeno. I'm gonna make it a little spicy because I'm gonna push back a little bit.
Okay.
This is what I have to say for that. Again, I am in agreement with you about the pricing. Nobody's gotten ridiculous with this, and they need to offer, I guess, in stasis off platform offerings, meaning like, hey, here's Adobe 2025, here's Adobe 2026. You pay $250 for it, it's yours. If that's the model, if that's what you want to use, you don't get it. You don't get it. It offers to advanced models. You're stuck with whatever AI model you get. You're stuck with whatever features are offered. They are locked in. And if you're okay with using that going forward, that's all you get. None of this perpetual, like, all right, we're going to sprinkle a little few more features and we're going to raise the price a little bit more every 6
Exactly.
months. And if you want to do that, that's fine. Let people who want to be on the bleeding edge offer that as well. I'm not saying you have to do one or the other. You should be able to do both.
Mhm.
and I think you retain that. What I'm pushing back on is the idea that creatives, and I say this from someone who likes to use their left brain as well, don't necessarily have the right brain mentality. And this is what AI does for some of those people. Now, I'm not saying it's for everybody, but for those of you who are out there listening and this does speak to you, there are times where you're able to create amazing artwork. You're able to
Yes.
create amazing video content, but you don't know how to speak to the marketing managers who are asking you
Yes.
for other uh, data processed information. So they're saying, hey, we need a 30-second video clip of this product and we need you to do it because you do great lighting, you have great music, you have the vision for putting this together. And they're saying, we also need you, our client would also like to have this explained. And you're like, well, I don't know how to explain it. I just did it. This is what I think that the AI does for you. It says, hey, my, marketing manager is asking me to give them or help them with a plan to implement this over the next 6 months as a retargeting effort. I don't know about Google Ads. I don't know how this would be applied. I just know that it's created. So you tell the AI, like, hey, give me a 30-day or 3-month retargeting plan and how I can take this creative I just made and use it for the next 30 days. And then the AI might say, hey, you can use variations of this AI. Here are some suggestions. Not saying you need to copy them or that you need to copy paste it from here to there, but you can say, all right, it's asking to make this piece of artwork in different variations over the next, 21 days in order to fulfill this, retargeting effort. And that's helping the creative person who doesn't have the right brain analytics to do it. They just have the left brain artwork and content to do it. That's where I see this working. And again, that's a subset of people who would use this. I'm not saying everyone's going to use this, but
I'm going to
okay.
I'm going to agree with you on and I'm going to use one of my own weirdisms to back it up. Yes, it is a weirdism. This is a David weirdism. I cannot create my own stuff very well. I do a fantastic job of creating for other people. I can take their idea and usually turn it into something. But let's use our podcast here.
Mhm.
You do most of the graphics for our podcast, all the graphics for our podcast. Whether they're AI generated or not, even before we had AI generation, you did them. I have the technical ability to do them. Absolutely do. I don't have the creative ability to take a blank canvas and come up with something for myself. That's just an ability I don't have. Like if I wanted to go build a website about movies, I can picture it in my brain. I even know the tools. I know how to build it. I have no problem with that. But when I sit down for myself in front of that white canvas, I can't build a darn thing. I can do it for you. I can't do it for myself. My brain is just wired a little bit differently. So to your point, I find myself I'm better at it than I used to be for doing for myself because I've got AI over here in the corner to get that part of my brain flowing. And once I get that part of my brain flowing, I can put AI away and go do what I know how to do. But I have a hard time transposing that idea from brain to screen or from brain to paper when it's for myself. If that makes sense to anybody, because if you told me right now to go redesign our website, I could do that. But if I sat down and said, David, you need to redesign our website, I would struggle with that, if that makes sense. I can take an idea from somebody. I can't generate my own idea and then always execute it. That's just not the way my brain works. But if I've got something over there just to bounce ideas off of, and I find myself doing this often, I'll just sit here sometimes when I need to, when I'm trying to come up and just bounce ideas off a Copilot for 15 minutes. And then I'll take the same idea and go bounce it off Gemini for 15 minutes. And then to Adobe's credit here in this story, I would take the same idea and go bounce it off of them for 15 minutes. And then I would take the, combination of the 3 that I liked, I'd go create that. So I
Well,
get it, using it for that aspect of it, absolutely.
you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We have messy minds over at Microsoft Inbox, and sometimes we just need a little help organizing them. With that being said, we got our next topic, which is Gemini for home. This is where AI jumps from your PC into your house to help you out. Is that a
Yes,
good thing?
well, I'm gonna let people decide if that's a good thing, and all I'm going to say is Alexa and lawsuit and let people figure that one out from a few years ago. Now, I hope that Google is not doing the same thing, but to say that Google is not paying attention to what you're saying or doing in your home, I think might be a little bit of a stretch because in order to answer you, they must first hear you. Remember that. So, Google Home got a nice update this week. We got Gemini 3.1 on your Google Home device. Google says it's the most advanced model yet for your smart home with voice control. This model brings faster reasoning, smarter multitasking, and more natural conversations, all designed to save you time and reduce the number of commands, aka queries to a GPU, to get things done. So, just to give you some idea of what you can do with it, it says add ingredients, add ingredients for Piella to my shopping list and check off the spices from my pantry list. Or you could create a day event for mom for her birthday on Saturday or Mother's Day, in this case on Sunday. What time is my yoga class? Move my workout back an hour. Now, when I read these prompts, I'm not impressed. I'm going to be honest because these prompts appear to be something that the standard Google Assistant could already do most of. I get it. If I can sit here and have a conversation about how to grow tomatoes in the deep south in the summer, what soil and nutrients do I need, and how often do I need to water these? And it can talk to me about that, then that's useful. If it can talk to me about it and I can ask it questions. But what I need to see from it is just that. Can I talk to it and ask it questions? Because when I read here, these were the examples that Google gave in their press release about this. When I read the prompts that they suggest, it feels like Google, standard Google to me. Like you're just asking search questions and getting back results. So, is this something people want? Is this something people are going to use? Or is this something that we're throwing a dart at the wall to see if Google sticks in a or if Google sticks, if AI sticks in a home atmosphere? I think we're kind of throwing a dart at the wall here to see if AI can stick in a home atmosphere because we've yet to really see AI geared toward the home atmosphere. Is it something that they were able to put in the speakers easily? I'm sure. It's a software reach. Somebody ask a question, reach out to server A, burn that GPU down, and give me the answer. So I don't think it's going to take Google very long to let people burn GPUs down on their smart speakers to figure out whether this works for them or not. Or, that nice little 19.99 a year um, subscription that they have now becomes that 24.99 a year subscription or even that 29.99 a year subscription because they have added all these AI tools for you that you may or may not care about, but you're going to pay for them.
Yeah. I'm not going to add too much to this, but I do want to say that this has been the crux of modern technology within the last, I don't know, 15 years that we keep, it feels like, and this is from coming from an elder millennial, that we are running up against
We
cool
old.
concepts, cool concepts for dystopian environment where you're talking to your house as if you're the only person living there and you're the only person that to plan for it. And what this does is there are two things that are happening at once that are making this ineffective to your point of will people even use this or if this is even an improvement. I think the leap happens when we either fully let go of privacy,
which ain't gonna happen.
which isn't going to happen, meaning that I will allow Google to tap into my calendar, tap into my wife's calendar, tap into my kid's calendar, which then taps into their school calendar, which then taps into a much broader, maybe your local environment, and stuff like that. Because the idea is that you, for AI to be where we want it to be and where we saw it in movies, where it's omnipresent and useful, it needs the APIs and the calls and the information, the data from a bunch of different things. Where it can't be like, well, I can't give you this information. So if when I say this, my dream scenario is like, hey, my wife told me last night that I need to pick the girls up from soccer practice or from their play or ballet or whatever. And I said, great. Then she left in the morning. I don't know what time the rehearsal practice said, what time I need to pick them up. But I need to ask Google as I'm leaving the house, hey, Google, what time I'm sorry for anybody whose phone just went off or whatever. So I'm going to stall for right now, give a moment of silence. Hopefully shut down, stop listening. But I need to say, hey, whatever, uh, what time is the girls' practice at? And where's
Mhm.
the location? Put it into my maps and give me a timer, set it on my phone so that I know when I'm at work at 4 o'clock, that my alarm goes off an hour before saying, hey, you need to go meet the girls or your kids at such and such place. Here are the directions, and this is where you need to be at. Because I was able to reach into my wife's calendar, the girls' calendar, or whatever the school is, or maybe maybe they have projects. Maybe you're doing this for maybe your partner. Maybe you don't have a wife, maybe just a partner, and they're saying, I need these things before we get home because I'm going to make this dish. And they put it in their notes. Yeah, they can text it to you, but it'd be nice if you were able to just reach into their notes, put a reminder into your own calendar, have your AI say, hey, I know that you're usually leaving work at 4:30, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock on your route home. There's a Publix, there's a Wawa, there's a wherever you shop at for food. There's a local, maybe you're, environmentally nice or you're thinking about workers first and you go to a local farmer's market. It's on your way home. Here are the things that your partner said that they needed. I put that into it, and this is how I'm saying AI needs to work. And we can't get that because we have specific roadblocks saying, hey, not only can I not access apps that aren't Google apps, which again, who knows what your partner puts their notes in, but I can't access certain other things because they haven't opted in. This person hasn't opted in. This service hasn't opted in. I can't go this far into someone else's privacy or some other thing's privacy in order to be as useful as I can be. So that's why we're getting stuff like, hey, here's a reminder about an upcoming class you have in your calendar. It's like,
Well,
well, I already put that there. I know that. You're just sending me the alarm now that
here's the thing, though, we're in the process of trying some of this. If you look in, like OpenClaw, everybody's going crazy about OpenClaw, you know? You stop working, OpenClaw does it, and you set up these agents, and you give them permissions, and this agent has access to your Gmail, this agent has access to your Outlook, kinda like what you're talking about, and they all report back to all these little minions, that's what I call them, little minions, they're agents talking back to the big boss agent, and then you communicate with the big boss agent. Problem is, the little agents cannot be trusted because I've read several stories of files being deleted, hard drives being deleted, Windows crashing, Mac OS crashing because these smaller agents that are out connecting to your Gmail, connecting to your Outlook, connecting to your OneNote, connecting to your calendar, and reporting back to the main agent that you speak to on your device, they're having issues with hallucinating. They're having issues with access. They're having issues with how far they can go. And people are just willy nilly deploying these things. And some of your results are a little bit scary, folks. Some of the things I have read, and I have watched many a YouTube video about how did and I'm not picking on OpenClaw, that's just the one that has made made the news topics. How to do this safely, how to do that safe. You should not have to make me a video on how to do this safely if we're going where we're supposed to go.
Well, this is to my point, though. You're telling little agents to respond to the big agent. Where again, I think this is part of why Mastodon never took off. Is that yes, the Fediverse is great if you know how to manage it, and if people have
Mhm.
to know how to manage smaller agents to
That's the
report to a larger
problem.
agent, and the smaller reason why the smaller agents are being deployed is because again, privacy things. These things can do one specific thing because they're allowed to. And if I have to manage everything that it's allowed to, I could just manually do that on my own at this point. The idea was that I should just talk to the one thing,
Mhm.
and it knows that it has the rights and privacy permissions to just go do what I need it to do. I don't care how it's done. But again, I think that's a twofold problem because increasingly people are becoming distrustful of AI and the tax that it takes, and I mean environmental, financial tax that it takes on people. That when people are now that because they've oversold it and they're putting AI and everything, when you look at it, just said this is your new home chatbot, I think people would have been easily more fooled or accepting of it than to say this is AI because now they know that AI is now that local data center down the street from them that's sucking up their resources and charging them more for their electricity. So now they're saying, you know what, you put AI in Google Home, I'm not using it. I don't want to. I don't need to. And I want my bills to go down. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Let's get into our next topic, which is a little bit more fun. And that's what I call the Sharma, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Xbox reset. We were off for about a week and a half. So there's some news that has happened on the Xbox front. I know that when we left you, she had taken over. She had lower prices for, I believe, the Game Pass Ultimate. We'll just refresh that, going down from $29.99 to $22.99. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but it is. It's a signal. For those of you who are the PC Game Pass version, that goes from 16.49 to 13.99. We let you guys know that again, it's just coming at the cost of uh, Call of Duty titles. So if you were someone who was relying on Game Pass to do all your Call of Duty stuff, just go buy the hard copy. Help some people out who can't afford to play games or pay that much. We're about to get into some really tough times. And I know that you think that Game Pass is great at that cost, but if you can afford that, go buy the hard copy. Help somebody else out to who can muster 13.99 to play. Who knows? They might even become a friend online with you. Hey, I couldn't have afforded the other thing before, but now that I can, I'm going to be online and you guys might meet up and play. But what she did in the last week, though, is that she also had some executive moves. And I'm not saying she, but I'm sure this was a board that could approve of most of this. But she had an overhaul where she brought a lot of AI people from her division over to the Xbox thing. And before we get the pitchforks and torches, let's figure out who's coming where. We got Jared Palmer, Tim Allen, Jonathan McKay, and Evan Chikai, I believe. And I think a former Instacart executive, David Schloss, are all now part of her executive team in different aspects. Palmer and Allen bring deep experience in building scalable consumer-facing systems inside Microsoft. McKay and Chakai add operational and design rigor, both of which have been weak points for Xbox during the last few years, and the Phil Spencer era. So, uh, for those of you who are thinking that she's going to chalk Xbox full of AI because she's bringing over AI people, that doesn't seem to be the case. She looks like she's trying to do more consumer facing scalable systems within Xbox. I don't know exactly what that means. It seems like a lot of corporate talk. For those of you who might know a little bit more than that, please let us know down in the comments. But the idea of operational and design rigor, meaning maybe some UI, maybe some consistency, maybe some brand design will be associated with it. I know that we got a new Xbox animation that's coming up. Maybe we release the new Xbox, but it looks pretty clean. It's going from the black and white with a flare green to like a green with some gold in it. It looks pretty interesting. I suggest you guys go check it out online if you can find it anywhere. Um, we also know that, and this is the last update I'll give you, and I'll let David speak after this. She is removed Copilot from the consoles and on mobile. Not that it was ever really there, but the idea that it was going to be put there, seems to have nixed that. So again, for those who were fretting about her AI background and her AI friends coming over to kind of AIify Xbox. It doesn't seem to be the case, at least not just yet, at least not on the onset. Maybe after she gets some goodwill like Phil Spencer, she'll start backtracking like he did too. But as of right now, it seems like a good move. My partner David and I talk off the mic why AI off the Xbox is a good move. I'll let him actually run with that if he wants to.
I would love to, my friend. As you mentioned in the beginning of when you were opening the story, we're older. We're older people. We're not senior citizens just yet. But,
I want my AARP club. I want to go to Denny's at 2 in the afternoon and get a good deal.
well, I do too. And I think part of the good deal that we're getting right now before we get to that point is AI slipping off the console. You know, when AI first came out, it was, and we're still in that phase somewhat. It was throw it everywhere, look what it can do. Throw it everywhere, look what it can do. Throw it somewhere, put a model behind it, and let people have at it. We talked about AI on the Xbox. We talked about AI in the Xbox app. But I think what we're learning is people just want to play. People just want to spend time with their friends. When I game, that's what I want to do. I don't want interruptions. And I feel like when you put Copilot in gaming, you're creating that interruption. You're creating that disconnect. You're taking away from the fun and the reward of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish in your game, whether it be beating a boss or whether it be trying to figure out how to beat a Blitz Zero in Madden 26. And I think this is a good thing. I think we need a little bit more of this. I think there needs to be a separation between AI and gaming because ultimately, what is gaming? Gaming has always been some type of artificial intelligence, has been some type of, you're putting a fantasy on a screen, you're trying to put people in environments. You're trying to make things feel realistic. You're trying to distract their mind to something that they enjoy. I really don't want to see AI tinker in that phase because it takes away from what gaming is, in my opinion. And to your point, I would much rather enjoy it with my friend. I'm a Call of Duty player. I look forward to the yearly releases. I don't, play it weekly. I don't race anybody to level 55, 25 prestige or anything like that. I play it for fun. And I don't mind buying that title for Game Pass to go down to 22.99. I don't. If that helps somebody who is less fortunate have a chance to enjoy a video game, to have an escape, to make a connection, to find a friend, because, and I'm a little off topic here, but the world's in a tough place. And a lot of times gaming is your escape. And if that $6 that I'm not paying and that $70 that I will pay come November help somebody else or help somebody keep their subscription for another month so they can get away from the stresses of life and have time each day to enjoy something.
He's the guy from Instacart. And again, his main priority is what makes him useful might be in finding sweet spots for pricing. Because we had gamers who had very rigid ideas of structuring pricing. Um, it seems like because again, he has experience in high volume consumer engagement, subscription economics, and user retention. That could mean that we get different tiers to offset some of this.
There's been rumors of that.
Right. So we might get a tier that's 7.99 that offers specific things. And then you might get a tier that's, 16.99 or somewhere between maybe 7.99 moves you up to 10.99 and moves you up to 16 that moves you up to 22. But the point is that he's there to help find that spot as an Instacart guy to be like, hey, this is where we get the pricing right for the most amount of engagement. I think what Xbox previously said was like, we think the value is here. Obviously, it wasn't because everyone flipped their wig when they went up to almost $30. He's there to find out through, whatever metrics he uses to find out Instacart to the, hey, here's the sweet spot. Yeah, we want to offer the 22.99 tier, but everyone's going to start playing at 12.99. And then we got to figure out what services, what games do we offer at that amount that increase that value. Yeah, if we want to offer, we want people at the 22.99, but 16 is where we're going to make our bread and butter and where we return value to the brand and to the company. Anyway, to end this section because there's some news about the Project Helix. And I think again they brought some of these people on to help structure, design shorter development cycles, improve the internal toolings, and reduce the friction that has historically slowed Xbox. Just the first signal of that was the new boot screen. Again, it cuts the boot time of the initial thing in half. So you're going to get to your game a little faster. Whether or not as soon as you get to it, it says you need an update, yet to be yet to be addressed because that is, I don't know if Xbox is ever going to get over that, but
No.
that's there. Our last topic, so we can get you guys hopefully out of here soon, is the AI backlash. And I wrote about this. Uh, I had this thought and wrote an editorial this weekend, published it earlier this week. But I was already under the impression that most people had started kind of turning on it. But we got some numbers in. And I believe there was let me see who did make sure we give them their due. It's a long one too. You guys might want to go check the company out, but I don't have it with me currently right now. There has been some reports about app uninstall and how the numbers have gone up and how people have gotten a little frustrated with it. And this goes back to, and we told you, we bring you all the way back to our opening rant. And what's adding to this is that we wrote a story that Google installs silently a 4 GB AI download for its Gemini model, essentially, to run on your device. It doesn't ask you for it. It doesn't prompt you to tell you. It doesn't alert you at all. It just kind of runs. It downloads it, and interestingly enough, it doesn't actually run. It's just sitting there, maybe for some future use. I'm not sure, but it's on your system. And for anybody who tries to clear to get rid of it, when your Chrome browser is updated again, it comes right back, and there's no way to stop it. Google has had it come out with an official reasoning for it. The company says Gemini Nano has been part of Chrome since 2024 and is meant to power on-device features such as scam detection, writing assistance, and developer APIs. Running these features locally is supposed to protect privacy by avoiding cloud processing. Google also says the model automatically removes itself on lower resource devices and that an opt-out toggle will begin rolling out in early 2026 because they got caught. But again, this thing has been on devices, been in Chrome for 2 years, and now they're just rolling out an opt-out this year. Again, someone did a very in-depth report about this and how it works. Um, Basically, I guess here, let me show you some of those details. Is that might have to just go to the website to get the specifics, but basically, this thing runs on the device. Google's saying, "Hey, we're going to give you an opt out for it." But this is adding to again some of that consumer backlash. People are saying, "You know what? I see the Google AI insights when I do regular search. Sometimes those insights are nearly as informative or useful as just going to the search link in the website that I wanted to go to for an authority on this." We were seeing people uninstall. There was an uninstall spike for a lot of these AI tools, either on mobile or on devices. The spike was a 250% year over year uninstall increase for a lot of devices. I believe the numbers go for Q1 for ChatGPT was 257% year over year uninstall. It's a 413% spike in March of 2026 alone. Microsoft saw 138% year over year uninstall increase. Google saw 169% year over year install increase. So Copilot seems to be sticking in there. Anthropic seems to be head and shoulders above what most people stick with. They have a 90% year over year uninstall increase. Again, still pretty bad. And the download jump was about 30% day over day. It's unusually large for this kind of spike for a mature product, which kind of shows that AI isn't mature. Uh, but it is drifting into a section where it will become pay for AI or have your company pay for it. You are not going to be paying for it or using it all that much in between. What are your thoughts on people starting to say, you know what? Thank you, but no thank you?
People are in an interesting place right now. People are budgets are taxed. Privacy is at a premium because, and we can come up with all kinds of ways that people are trying to be private, some proper, some not. That's not here for me to debate. But privacy is important, and people are thinking twice about what they're giving these big corporate companies to work with, what they're giving you to train these AI bots with, what they're giving you to train these AI models with. And, we've got a graphic up on screen right now that says, where there looks to be a demonstration or a meeting or a protest that says, and there's signs up that says, say no to data centers. Say no to data centers. They suck. Well, I want to clear something up. Data centers are what make this podcast go. Data centers is where your beloved Facebook, your beloved TikToks, your YouTube videos, that's where all those things are. And people get on these bandwagons of data centers are making my power bill go up. Oh no, 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 no. All data centers got to go. My power bill's got to come down. We need a little bit more education. Like, for example, Google got caught here. That's why you're getting a toggle next year. Toggle should have
This
been there
year,
to
it'll be here. It just took them 2 years.
yeah, the toggle should have been there to start with. And people are tired of these slimy ways of getting access to your data and your habits. But at the same time, I'm going to play both sides of the fence here. People have to use intelligence, not what they read on a social media feed, because guess what? A high percentage of what you read on social media is generated by what? AI.
Well,
Or somebody that saw a buzzword that said data centers was going to increase your power bill by 50%. I got into a good argument with somebody a couple weeks ago. They were all about shutting down data centers. Stop them, stop them, stop them. I mean, they were they were deep. I let them run. I let them go. He pulls out his phone. He's a single man. He can look at whatever he chooses. And he gets involved in watching these people lip sync songs and dance and all this stuff and get the likes on TikTok and the comments, etc. So, he's all in on it. And I just turned and looked at him. I says, you ever think about where your TikToks that you like so much are hosted? What are you talking about, David? Yeah, they're in that data center. I said, so you need to educate yourself. You don't want to kill all data centers.
right. And I don't think everybody wants to kill all data centers. They do. And this is, what I think most people who are living in an economic environment globally, but here, particularly here in the US, are just running up against reality and facts
Mhm.
that yes, data centers do power social media, and they have been for the last 20 something odd years. What's changed though is that since the onset of AI and data centers being used to train models to process queries, people's bills have gone up. So there's a direct one to one. It isn't saying that, hey, we want to get rid of all data centers because we don't know what they do. This is whatever that data center is being used for over there, this new one that you put in that you're saying is designed to run for AI. It's sucking up more water than the data center that was put in 15 years ago for Facebook. It's bigger. It runs hotter. The degrees around where people live at around these data centers are up five degrees in general. So if you live in an area that normally is 75 degrees, most years around, you're looking at 80 no matter what. And that's just living in that area. You're also seeing water being absorbed. So they're saying, you know what? We don't for this, I use social media. You put pictures up, you communicate, you chat, you talk about topics. That is a utility that I can see benefit from. And if the bills are going up because of that, I get that. AI is different. If someone puts up a clip of, the Hulk fighting Superman. Yeah, it might have been entertaining for a quick second, but is it worth me having to live with a 5-degree temperature raise and my bill going up? And that's not coming back down or changing anytime soon. I think people are saying, no, we don't want that AI and again, for, running your Google Home. I don't use those features because it doesn't do what I need it to do. But it doesn't mean that my bill's not going to go up because, it's built there. I think people are saying no to that. I think the larger AI backlash is coming a bunch of things, not just the environment, not just because of the bills, but because the tools themselves aren't working like were sold as. They are
I
not getting
agree.
more accurate. The interfaces aren't getting better. And the degree to which regular search and these AI results are happening, they're not as vast as, again, we were sold. Like, hey, this is going to revolutionize search. It's going to revolutionize you doing this or you doing that. It's like, well, it's made it a little bit easier, but the process of me having to check it and reorganize whatever it's put out there or reprompt it to do stuff is also taxing. And I think more than anything, when people were told to get into computer sciences for a job, they wanted to do that because they wanted a career path forward. When people are told to get into AI, it's a defensive mechanism. It's to keep what you currently have. You are now getting homework
Mhm.
versus being given a career path. Like, hey, I can learn something and get a better job. This is you need to learn this or you're going to lose your job. And I think that is the disconnect. And again, it's coming for all of the, you know, data processors, people in middle management, all that stuff that, you know, tend to have been easier for people, and there's nowhere else to go from that point unless you're gonna be an executive. You're about to lose your job unless you know AI. And now, when you add that as a burden to people, they're not gonna want to use AI. They're being told they have to use it otherwise. You put a gun to someone's head, they're less likely to be happy about doing whatever it is you ask them to do.
And, to put a button on this, I'm a YouTube guy. I watch a lot of, day in the life YouTube videos. I watch a lot of the real things that people create, that are exploring an abandoned building or a day in the life of an Amazon developer or, those type things. I enjoy those. And I'm starting to see more of I used to work for company XYZ, AI replaced me.
Mhm.
And I watch those, and these are real stories, folks. These are real stories where this person goes through, and I'm not going to name companies, but some of them start with the
Go
letter. Yeah, some of those start with the letter G. Some of those start with the letter A,
or it
um, or M. The main ones that I have seen are G and A. But to your point, it's getting a little bit scary, and people are starting to push back because there's kind of this realization going on. It feels like a realization to me that once AI is in, you're gonna have a heck of a time pushing it out. And I'm concerned about where we are, not only financially and politically and as a country, but as technology. I'm concerned about where we are and how far we're allowing AI to push to replace our human being because if that human being is not making money, they're not spending money. And that overall affects the economy and the type of life that you live. and the United States is on the forefront of this. We don't have another country to look to and say, "Well, they got AI before we did. Look what happened over there." We've kinda dove off into the ocean, we're swimming, and the sharks are watching. We've had a few nibbles, everybody's still alive, but I want to keep everybody alive, and I'll leave it there.
Yeah, and I do wanna add a bit of reality because 2 things to be happen at once. Yes, consumers are becoming weary about the transparency of AI. People want more regulations. People want that the trust is collapsing for that in particular. People are kind of getting over the hype cycle of what it could and couldn't do. But enterprise is accelerating. They are
Yeah,
seeing that there's usage
they
there. And
are.
again, part of it's driven by replacing workers, but it's also, there is a level of efficiency there. So you got two things happening at once. Not everyone's abandoning AI, but they are switching tools, trying to settle on what, few options they're going to use and what AI is going to be useful for in their life, AI. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, we are letting you know that again, this is part of that deal that AWS and OpenAI talked about. The reason why they're leaving Microsoft is because Microsoft offered their offerings in a prosumer world, and they just need enterprise. They just need uh, they don't need consumers. They need commercial users, and AWS offers that. There are a lot of people using AWS, a lot more people than that are using Microsoft's Azure, and so they know that they need to justify all that money they're ingesting by saying these are the amount of customers we have, and this is what they tell investors. This is why we need 7 rounds of funding a year for multiple billions of dollars because we have this many customers to feed. Right now, they're just saying we need it because we think we're going to get this many customers, and they couldn't do that with Microsoft because Microsoft was offering a prosumer like, hey, look what you can do with Copilot. Plus, look what you can do with Copilot in Azure and in Power BI and in all of our enterprise tools. But it was never going to be the same extent of here's where straight commercial users and governments are using AI. So, uh, that's where AI is going to make their money. That's where they're going to be able to justify. And that's why they're going to start tokenizing a lot of this, saying, hey, here's a sort of one-to-one transparency of what people are using and how much we're charging them for this. So, anyway, on a much lighter, fun note, we're closing out with double play, free play days. That sounds like fun, saying that 5
Yep,
times.
we got 2 this week. Mother's Day weekend here in the United States, so, make sure you spend time with your mothers, your grandmothers, your sisters if they're mothers, or and anybody that was a mother figure to you, make sure you spend time with them. I wanna get that out there before I even start into any gaming, but we've got 2 good titles this weekend. We've everything requires a membership this weekend, so there's not a free title that does not require membership, so you're gonna need that premium membership this weekend. You're gonna need that essentials membership this weekend. So make sure you've got your membership. You've got, Catan Console Edition where you kinda well, I guess that's Canton. Look at me. Canton Console Edition. Step into the island of Canton and compete for resources and territories to claim victory. Whether you're forming an alliance or outfoxing rivals in a challenging, dynamic, AI driven classic strategy experience environment for everyone. If that's just not for you, that sounds pretty good. I would like to explore that island in a virtual sense. But if you don't like that, you can check out Deadside. Deadside dives you into a gritty open world of survival, offering hardcore PvP and PvE experiences alongside co-op, scavenger for gear, explore a massive map, and build your own fortress. The recent 1.8 update allows the ability to craft your own weapons, such as a B12 revolver. So make sure you check out both of these this weekend. And as I always tell folks, for example, Dead Side is 50% off this weekend. That is with the DLC. So you've got Dead Side at $21.49 and the Canton Console Edition is $16.99. For the weekend, you can grab both of these from Xbox.com, or you can scoot over to your console, your membership, head down to Game Pass, and pick both of these up. For me, I'm probably going to actually try both of these this weekend, assuming I have time to do so. They both look interesting. I know you've probably got some Mother's Day stuff going on with your wife and your girls this weekend, but if you get some time to yourself, that's probably a big if. Um, what are you up to? Are you gonna try any one of these? You gonna try
Yeah.
something else? You gonna sleep all weekend? You gonna drink beer? What you gonna do?
I'm gonna try to sleep all weekend, but I doubt that's gonna happen. So I'll be up probably I'll do Dead Side, I think. It looks like it should be fun. I'm never really
That's
good at these PvPs, but I'm good at customizing and starting it off and waiting in a lobby. And then once your shooting starts, that's when the game ends for me. So that's how I play. But I will give that a shot. I will also obviously be playing Hades 2. And if again, I think actually as we're just now talking, I was texting my wife. I think my in-laws are coming into town, so I may not even get a chance to do any of that. But nevertheless, just like
that
David
may
said,
mean he has to behave all weekend long, folks. I don't know his in-laws, but that may mean he's
yeah,
gotta behave all weekend.
pretty much. We hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with us. We will see you guys again next week. If people want to hang out with you, play some games with you, or
Yeah,
hang out or just chat.
please do. I always welcome, good, kind, clean people are always welcome to me. I don't close any doors to gaming. So David PAJ 1978. That is over on Blue Sky, and I should have put thank you. My buddy there popped that under my name, David PAJ 1978, Blue Sky. Leave me a message, drop me a DM, follow me. I do keep track of my notifications over there. You're welcome to come in and have a good time. I usually range anywhere between the free play days is to some Call of Duty, some Battlefield. I might even grab a game of Madden or college football 26. I'm all over the place when it comes to gaming. You may catch me on a console, you may catch me on a handheld, you may catch me on a PC. I'm literally all over the place. So don't feel bad. Jump in. We'll talk about something and find some common interest.
I don't talk to strangers, so don't look for me on any of these gaming sites, Twitch or any of that stuff. But I am ironically online a lot. So if you do want to talk about the NBA playoffs or politics or movies, I'm watching a lot of TV shows. I just watched the most recent episode of The Boys. I got to finish up Daredevil. But if you want to talk about any of that stuff, you can find me at Happy Hope at Blue Sky dot social, or you could find me at, I did change it to Happy Hope at
Oh, he made that
on
move. Took him
on
3
Threads. I
years,
did.
but he
I
made it.
switched it. I did it. So you can find me at with that name on at least the two social media sites that I go to. Try not to use any AI when we communicate. That way we can save the environment one day at a time. Until next week, you go out and enjoy your weekend, enjoy your Mother's Day, enjoy your time with whoever it is you're going to be with. If you're going to be alone, enjoy that time. If you have pets, enjoy time with them. We will see you guys next week. Thank you.
Have a good weekend, everybody.